All right, let's dive in. Today we're going to talk about a pattern, one that's kind of hiding in plain sight, that connects the entire story of the Bible from start to finish. It's this powerful theme of rescue and redemption, and once you see it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. So let me just start by asking you this. What if the Exodus, the famous story of Israel's escape from Egypt, what if that wasn't just a one-and-done deal? What if it was actually a blueprint, a pattern that God would use over and over again to tell a much, much bigger story? And that brings us to our first big idea, thinking of the Bible's story as its greatest sequel. You know how some stories are so huge, so foundational, they become the model for everything that comes after? Well, in the Bible, the Exodus is that story. It's the original act of God's deliverance that really sets the stage for everything else. Seriously, think of it like a movie franchise. The first Exodus, with Moses in the Red Sea, that was the original blockbuster, an absolute classic. But then, centuries later, when Israel's in trouble again, the prophets start talking like a movie studio announcing a sequel, a new Exodus. And they promise it's going to be even bigger and more mind-blowing than the original. Okay, so to really see this pattern in action, we've got to go back to the original. The first Exodus gives us the blueprint, the essential pieces that we're going to see repeated later on. The original story follows this really clear four-part pattern. First, you've got a people in bondage. They're slaves in Egypt. Second, God orchestrates this mighty, dramatic rescue. Third, they go on this long journey toward a new home, the Promised Land. And finally, and this is the most important part, the goal is a new covenant, a new way for God to actually dwell with his people. Remember that pattern. Right after they cross the Red Sea, Moses sings this song, and it tells us the real point of the whole thing. Did you catch that language? Plant them, your dwelling. See, the goal of the Exodus wasn't just freedom from slavery, it was freedom for a relationship with God. It was about restoring that divine presence that humanity lost all the way back in the Garden of Eden. Now let's fast forward a few centuries. Israel is once again in bondage, but this time they're in exile in Babylon. And it's right here, in this moment of crisis, that the prophets start pulling out that old Exodus language to promise a brand new rescue. And the parallels are they're impossible to miss. The prophet Isaiah, he describes this future return from exile using almost the exact same imagery. Instead of parting the Red Sea, God's going to make a way in the wilderness. Instead of a mighty arm against Pharaoh, God's awakened arm is going to fight an even greater evil. It's the same pattern, just bigger, more cosmic. And then Isaiah drops this bombshell. He tells the people to forget the former things. Now, he's not dissing the first Exodus, not at all. He's saying, what I'm about to do, this new thing, this new Exodus, it's going to be so profound, so earth-shattering. It will completely redefine everything you thought you knew about salvation. And this, right here, is where the whole story finds its climax. The writers of the New Testament are basically all pointing to one person and saying, he's the one. They present Jesus as the one who finally and ultimately fulfills this incredible prophetic promise. He is the leader of the ultimate Exodus. Matthew's gospel makes this connection totally explicit. When Jesus' family returns from Egypt, Matthew says this fulfills the prophecy, "Out of Egypt I called my son." But here's the catch. That original verse in the book of Hosea, it wasn't about an individual. It was about the entire nation of Israel. Which, leads to a pretty obvious question. Wait a minute, wasn't that quote about the whole nation? How can Matthew just take it and apply it to one person, to Jesus? Well, the answer is this amazing theological idea called recapitulation. The basic concept is that Jesus, as God's perfect son, actually relives Israel's story, but he does it to succeed where they failed. So where Israel, God's first son, was unfaithful in the wilderness, Jesus, the greater son, is perfectly faithful. He brings their entire story to the conclusion it was always meant to have. So what is this ultimate Exodus that Jesus leads? It's not a rescue from a country like Egypt or Babylon. No, it's a rescue from a much deeper, more profound kind of exile, the bondage to sin and death that holds all of humanity captive. This is the ultimate liberation that the first Exodus was only ever pointing toward. So why does all this matter? Why is tracing this new Exodus pattern so important? Well, it's a lot more than just a clever literary device. When you see it, it unlocks a much, much deeper way of reading the whole biblical story. Honestly, this pattern is like a key. It unlocks a single, unified story that connects the Old and New Testaments. It helps us see that salvation isn't just about being forgiven, it's about being dramatically rescued. It redefines that idea of exile as our separation from God, and it shows how all those Old Testament stories were pointing forward to Jesus and his mission. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. The new Exodus is this powerful ancient pattern that gives shape and meaning to these texts. So it makes you wonder, right? What other ancient patterns of heroes and sacrifice, of exile and return, are still to this day shaping the stories we tell, and maybe even the stories we live by?